All right, weight trainers, here we are again. We're gonna move to the lower body and start talking about muscles in the thighs, okay? Basically the legs from the knees to the hips, okay? And when we did our muscle anatomy page, a lot of you had these labeled correctly, but some of you actually went a little bit further and went more specific with what you labeled. Just so we understand, the muscles that we refer to, quadriceps and hamstrings, those are a group of muscles, okay? The quadriceps, that's pretty easy. There's 4 major muscles in the quadriceps. You just need to know quadriceps or quads. Some of you had on your anatomy page things like vastus lateralis, all right, vastus intermedius, things like that. For hamstrings, some of you had biceps femoris, which are specific muscles in the hamstrings, all right, in the quads as well. But we're just going to call them quads and hamstrings, all right? The quads themselves, all right, they're going to start on the top of the femur, which is the big bone from your hip to your knee. They're going to travel through your knee and connect on the front of your shin, all right? A lot like your triceps, which we'll talk about next week. So the muscle's passing through here, and connecting down here. And then when it pulls, all right, the leg will straighten out. So it's pulling by attaching at the just below your knee. So it pulls here, it contracts, and as a result, the leg straightens out. The back of the leg, the hamstrings, is a little bit tougher because it's not just connected through the knee and it's not just pulling in, right? But it's also helping to bring the leg back. So it also helps a little bit going with my upper leg pulling back. All right, we're going to talk about the glutes a lot, all right, as their own big set of muscles, but your muscles in your butt are really in charge of hip extension. All right, so we call those glutes. But your hamstrings help with hip extension a little bit, but they're also going to help with leg curling, all right, or flexing of the knee. So quads on the front are in charge of extending the leg, extending the knee. All right, hamstrings are in charge of flexing the knee or curling the knee. All right, and also for a little bit of hip extension. Now, I want to isolate those 2 groups of muscles. All right, how do I do that? Isolation exercise, again, we choose one muscle group, one joint at a time. If you go to a Planet Fitness or the new health club, Zoo Health Club, or even the PA Fitness Center, you can easily find a machine where you can isolate both of those muscles. So the quadriceps on the front of the thigh, or you're going to find something called a leg extension. So a chair that you sit in like this, your knees go over the end of the seat, but you'll see that your shin goes behind a pad, and you're just going to kick it up like that. So a leg extension exercise, all right, is all about just isolating the quadriceps. All right, a lot of times in the gym, all right next to the leg extension, you'll find the leg curl, which is going to be the opposite, where your legs are going to start on top of the pad and the weight, and you're going to curl your feet towards your butt. All right, we have one of these in our fitness center as well. All right, leg curl will isolate the hamstrings. All right, I recommend those isolation exercises for people that are rehabbing, or maybe they're just not getting, a lot of times people, the quadriceps are stronger than their hamstrings. So in order to even that out, we use the leg curl a lot. Leg extension is an exercise where you can isolate the quads, but there's so many exercises to strengthen the quadriceps that I don't personally recommend it, and I never really use it. You're going to find that your quads get strengthened when you're climbing stairs, just getting up out of a chair. You can see this motion right here. I'm using my quads to stand up. So a lot of times my quadriceps are stronger than my hamstrings. But if I wanted to group those together for a compound exercise, including my glutes, all right, what's the number 1 exercise? A squat. All right, and a squat is going to go glutes, quads, hamstrings, because remember I talked about, all right, as I come up and I hip extend, all right, or I bring the legs back, all right, my hamstrings help out with that. But the major muscles for that are going to be quads and my glutes. We'll talk about the glutes a little bit later. But for the squat, you can see the motion of the leg extending, all right, when I come back up into my squat, all right, my knee is extending. All right, so in order to get a good squat, I have to use a lot of quadriceps. All right. In order to get perfect squat technique, all right, we want to emphasize the glutes because we don't want it to all be in the front. So I'm not going to do a squat where I bend over this way and I just use my quads to do all the work. All right, I want to lean back a little bit and have the weight on my heels and get my glutes involved. We'll talk about isolating muscles for the glutes. The glutes are the number one muscle for running, or sprinting, I should say. So if you are an athlete and you want to be able to run faster, jump higher, your glutes and your hips are the number one muscles you want to strengthen. Or if you just want a stronger butt, all right, you want to learn how to isolate your glutes, we will talk about that. But for now, we're just sticking to the thighs. Let me make sure I got everything for us. Yeah, a compound exercise, that squat uses more than one joint. It uses my hip and my knee and those three muscles as well. All right, so take a look at those. All right, think about isolation exercises. We're gonna do arms, glutes next.